talk about the ultimate. How about the ultimate blessing and a curse? Is when you finally become grandparents and the massive joy of that little bundle. And then you realize that the important one of the family isn't there to enjoy the bundle. And it sets in that while you're having all this amazing blessings and love, um, there's someone missing who wanted so desperately to be there.
Welcome to the Grief Pie Podcast. This is a show where we motivate and inspire men to share their grief one bite at a time. Thanks for tuning in and adding your voice and stories so that we can all heal and find joy together. Now, please welcome your hosts, Gary Scott and James Rafter.
Welcome to another episode of Grief Pie. And we'd really appreciate you guys, all of the millions of viewers out there, to please like us, love us, hit the subscribe button, share us, check us out on Facebook and Instagram and the YouTubeage, and I don't know where else we are. We're all over the world. We're international podcast sensations. So as always, somewhere in the potosphere is my brother, Mr. James Finnegan Rafter. Mr. Rafter, I know you had a wonderful weekend with your grandbabies. Why don't you tell us about those little pumpkins of joyness?
Yeah, so that's kind of what brought us into this kind of topic was being able to spend a few days with my granddaughter, who's 1 in a couple of months. So walking around, being a terror, just the cutest little thing in the world. And so that's kind of where we kind of fall into where we become we're the grandpops. And what does that mean? How does that play out? I had to be kind of the fifth wheel. But it was fun this week because I got to spend time with David's parents, and who I adore, right? So we got to be two goofy grandpops. Took her to the zoo on Monday. Just had a blast. But like you said, we're always missing that big component. But I want to keep it this a little bit lighter and more fun about how fun it is to be the grandpop, right? To buy the toys, to, spoil them a little bit, to hang out with the other side, right? My counterpops, I call them. Even the grandma. So it was fun. I do have a question for you though. So what is your grandpop name? What do you
I don't have
go
one
by?
yet. I don't have one
How
yet.
do you not have one?
He doesn't talk.
No, but you got to be telling them this is
No.
Pops.
I'm not going to select his gender. I'm going to leave that up to the school. And then I'm not going to give him my name because he's going to name me. He, them, they are going to name me. He's going to say, look at me when he starts talking and go, the hell is that? So
you have not selected your grandpa name.
No, you don't select your grandpa name. The kids select your grandpa name.
No. You have to select. Gonna call you on that one.
No. So you're telling the child what you want to be called. See, I'm way more woke than that. I'm allowing the child to select its gender and select what it wants to call me.
No, so
Get
I've
more
always
real.
been Jim Pops. Jennifer, Jennifer was Lolograms like the second she found out Denise was pregnant. She already had her. Again, little different between you and I. April never knew, a little one was on the way. Jen um, was able to know that there was a little one on the way. So she named herself, she took care of all that, right? Um, before baby A was even born.
Now you
So
have two grand grand humans. We'll let them tell us what they are. What so you've got Scarlet and you've got uh baby A. What's baby A's actual name?
Adrian,
Adrian.
which was Jennifer's middle name.
As in Yo Adrian.
Yo, Adrian. Yes.
Okay. So she was named after a scene from Rocky.
Well, she was named after her Lollygram. That was Jen's middle name.
So it was Jennifer Adrian.
Yes.
All right. I can deal with that. I can dig that. So she was RAF, kind of like the Royal Air Force.
Yes. She was flying the Spitfires out over Germany, protecting the bombers, all that stuff.
So how did she select her name?
Um, all my older sister, picked her name early on. Um, her friends all have, their grandma names. So Jen just, went down and just picked, I'm gonna be Lollygram.
I mean, but that's a lot of moving parts to Lollygram. I mean, I know she was on a lot of morphine and CBD and shit, but I mean, how do you get Lollygram out of that?
Well, my older sister's Honeygram.
Ah, all right.
So it was just kind of keeping
Why
up
aren't
with
you
the
Grandpagram?
I'm Jim Pops, but I'm GYMPOPS because
No, I don't know. But Jim Pop, all right. It sounds like some sort of dessert treat, but I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I am just grandpa
okay.
until he starts Sprechen Z, and then he'll name me. He'll come up with see because the thing is when children have a challenge speaking sometimes, grandma and grandpa, right? So it comes out in some diabolical mixed up way, right? So he might just call me Grandpooper. Who knows what will come out of his pie hole? But when it does, that's who I'll be.
Okay.
That's it.
There
That's
you go.
that's it. See, you're not woke enough. You've chosen the name for the child, and that's disrespectful to the child. Probably harmful to the child.
The,
I'm leaving it up to his kindergarten teacher to decide what I recall.
I
So
will
so you have one in Sacramento and you have one in San Antonio, correct?
Phoenix, and we're waiting patiently. That's an adoption, and we're hoping that adoption happens. Starts the process in May. So
So who's in Sacramento?
baby A, that's David's. That's Adrian. That's
Oh, oh, okay, okay. We don't have a baby in Texas yet.
from what I understand. No,
So who's in Texas, James or David?
James is in Texas.
Okay, okay. So James has got to get on the stick because obviously
He
he's
needs.
lagging in the baby department.
He needs to. He's got a. He's got a great gal going thump thump thump.
My biological clock is ticking, and we need more production out of you people. right? Because we need to get population going here. We're running out of people. So I'm spoiled, Elisa and I, because although April desperately wanted to be a grandma and was thinking she could hang on to that, unfortunately, 9 years later, little Jetson pops out. And so Jetson is very lucky because he has an amazing grandma in Elisa. My new wife is a fantastic. She just wandered into the room. She's handing me notes. I just received a note. Toilet paper, toothpaste, Brussels sprouts, and salmon. We know that can't be true. She doesn't eat salmon.
It sounds delicious.
Go ahead Target to get no batteries. You need anything. Thank you, love. She's so good. Do we have all the adult toys we need? They don't sell those Target.
No, please edit that out.
No, thank you, love.
You're welcome.
Okay. So before I was rudely interrupted by Grandma, I was saying that Elisa, although this is her second grandchild, is a wonderful grandson to Jetson, and also we're very lucky because Jetson only lives 2 blocks away.
Right.
So we get to walk over there and kidnap him and steal him so that Grandma and Grandpa can have him. So we're very lucky that way. But yeah, it was extremely emotional. I know you want to keep this light, but it was extremely emotional when we were there. We couldn't be there for the birth. For whatever reason, but it was extremely emotional when Jetson popped out because, like I said, April, she desperately wanted to be a grandma. And so it was all about having the grandbaby. And so, of course, the joy of seeing Jetson was huge. And then the joy of having Jetson was huge. But the sadness, the deep sorrow that April wasn't there is always there when you look at him, right? Because you just know that grandma should be there. But like I said, I'm very fortunate that I remarried. And although my wife doesn't like me, she loves Jetson. So we're fortunate that way.
Yeah, so one of the things this weekend that was hard, I think it was Sunday night, is I couldn't even, I hung out with the kids, played with the baby, and then they're making dinner, and I'm like, I gotta go. I can't be here anymore. I don't know if it's guilt. I don't know what it was. Um, you know, just being alone, right? Um, we need a therapist to give me some insight on, you know, I just I just couldn't spend, I had to go home. I had to go back to the hotel. I felt so much guilt on and sadness on being the only grandparent, right? I did much better Monday at the zoo. Because
But
I had
you fit in a lot better in a zoo.
we did like the orangutans.
Ah,
So yeah, I mean, but I had my buddy, my fellow, my counterpops. Now, do you have a counterpops? Do you have someone on the other side that you hang out with and
well, kinda. Jet's pretty lucky because he has Grandpa me, and Grandpa Victor, but he lost Brianna's dad, Andy, who's her real father. Victor's her stepdad, and I'm her father-in-law. And then he has a Elisa as a grandma, and Brianna's real mom, Michelle, as a grandma. So for a while there, he had 5 grandparents, and then he has a couple great grandparents,
Oh,
My
there you go.
mom is a great grandma to him, and she adores him, as insane as she is. And then Brianna has a younger, because Brianna's
I
mom,
love your mom.
yeah, Brianna's mom was very young when she had Brianna's mom, so she's a really young great grandma. She's like young. And then Victor's mom is young. So she got he has three great grandmas, two grandpas, two grandmas, aunts and uncles all over the place. So, the kid's spoiled beyond belief, not with stuff, but just with like affection and stuff.
Right.
We love it.
Now, are they close by? Are they in the desert?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They're all within 15, 20 minutes, except my mom. She's about 45 minutes, whatever. But yeah, we're all close by, and we all get to spend a lot of time and stuff. So it's wonderful. I mean, he like I said, he's not starved for affection, that's for sure. Now
That's
you've
awesome.
got interesting, if you care to share it, um, you have an interesting tale about one of your granddaughters, if you care to share.
Which tail? Which one? Which the adopting one or the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to be careful because I can't really talk too much about her until after the May hearing. There's a lot of
That's why I said it, if you want to share. I don't know what the
yeah,
ins.
there's a lot of rules, but she's amazing. Um, but I have to be very, very, very careful on what I talk about um until we get through the severance hearing on her. But she is just adorbs. Again, I saw her a couple weeks ago. Um, that's the thing that sucks for me, right? Is with baby A, she's got her grandparents around the corner, like you. They live like walking distance.
Is that
So they're
your counter pops?
yeah, my counterpops. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my counterpops is around the corner and retired, very, very hands-on. His wife is amazing. Um, the paternal mom is amazing. So, they've got plenty of, you know, um, grandparenting going on up there.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's the hard part is being, 500, 600 miles away. And how often can I get up there and be, part of her life so that she knows who Jim Pops is. I know you
Yeah.
don't like my labels before it's too early, but
Well,
I want her knowing who Jim Pops is.
it's hurting the child. It's hurting the growth of the child because they might not identify as that. So you're hurting the child. The interesting thing is we don't want to get into the baby A, but the interesting thing is that you know the personalities of these little critters is something else. I mean, I don't know about your grandbabies because they're girls and no one really likes girls until they hit 18. Um,
Oh,
but
shit.
Jet is just like, dude is so freaking smart. He's like points to his diaper, he's like 16 months, right? He points to his diaper. I got to poop, right? There's a pooper in there. And then we change him, and then he has to take all the stuff and clean up and take the diaper and all the wipes and throw them in the trash for us. Right, because he just all he wants to do is help around the house. It's like something else. He has to be in the kitchen when we cook dinner because she's like, "Oh, get the salt. Okay, there's the pepper over there. Okay, now there, use that pan." We're like, "Dude, you're 16 months old. All right, eat paste or something, or like poop in your hand and throw it at the wall or something like that. What do you do? You're too smart." He's just it's awesome. I mean, he's so much fun. He's so much fun. It's like the kids are always like, "Do you mind if you watch him?" I'm like, "Dude, you know, bring him." You know what I mean? I'm sure it's like your co-pops over there, your counter pops over there. It's the same thing. I mean, it's like, can we just like have a sleepover? Why are you taking him already? It's just we just love that little sucker, man.
It
Yeah,
was
it's sad. Like I said, it's a catch 22.
it was funny on Monday, when we went to the zoo, right? We had and again, Monday was tax day. So I was finishing up all my taxes. And so I was a little late getting back over there. But Denise, the mom, had this list of what we couldn't do with baby A, what time she needed to be back home to get her down for her nap. So,
You don't need no stinking list. I am grandpa. Hear me roar. All right.
so,
Listen, this is not my first rodeo. I don't do lists. Keep your
so
stinking.
so my counterpops and I are like watching watching our watches like the whole time, going, we only have 15 minutes until we're allowed, till we get them back, get her back. And again, keep in mind this zoo is this. It's called the Land Park Zoo in Sacramento. It's this tiny little, um, just the saddest little zoo in the world.
Is it like our living desert up here in the desert?
No, the Living Desert is way more amazing. This is just a tiny little, um, sad little zoo. Um, that they're trying to build a new one, but in any event, it's in the middle of downtown, Sacramento. Um, Great area.
Downtown Sacramento is a zoo all by itself. You don't even need any more animals in that place. I've been there.
Right.
But they are bringing the Oakland A's until they move to Vegas, so you got that going for you.
I know my hotel was like right across the street from the stadium.
How big is that thing? It's a minor league park. It's got to be like what, 10,000 people or something?
And it's not huge, but it's a great area, West Sac, that's being regentrified and rebuilt. What are you rolling your eyes for there?
Nothing in California is being anythingified or rebuilt. California is just needs to fall into the ocean and start from scratch. And just tilt it up and just shoot everybody and then start from scratch. Where's the earthquake? I was promised a huge earthquake that would just
I
separate
was told you
Los
guys had an
Angeles.
earthquake. You guys had an earthquake the other day.
Yeah, we
And
have them every day. Big deal. Don't even feel them anymore. Unless it's like an 8 and I gotta hold on to something. I don't even care. But it's just rumbling. I'm like, whatever,
you're
dude. It's like magic fingers in a Motel 6. It's like nothing.
you're so jaded. We,
On my earthquakes?
on it everything. You don't want to be named. You don't.
Listen, you are not woke. You don't name anything. The baby names itself. You're hurting the child. I really think you need counseling. Well, I know you need counseling, but you need it for the upbringing of a child. Do I need to bring you some child rearing books? You obviously
I did struggle raising my three children into adulthood, and
thank God Jen was there. We talked about this, right? They'd be raccoons. They'd be like stealing garbage out of people's houses. They, my kids would be like badgers living under a bridge. No, we talked about that. It wasn't for Jen and April. Our kids would be pickpockets in like downtown Sacramento. But our
yes.
grandchildren will not be, because our grandchildren are going to be awesome. We're getting a second chance on trying
Oh,
to.
I just think if I stay like arm's length away,
Yes, maybe 2 arms length.
then they'll be fine.
Well, it's really awesome that you get along with your counterpops. That's very cool because not all families get along, right? And you've got two amazing sons, one spectacular, amazing daughter. So that means eventually one day you'll have a son-in-law and two daughter-in-laws. And if they do the right thing and they each have like 6 to 8 kids, you're gonna have a raging holidays and stuff. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's the hope. And that's like the conversation we have now is where are we all going, right? Because we're all split up, tough to get to each other on a regular basis. Sam actually is going to South Carolina next week and starting to look at property
Yes.
and
Yeah.
probably selling, getting out of Phoenix and going to South Carolina, which is closer to that side, to her husband's side of the family, which again, I get along with great. I love my son-in-law's dad and mom. His dad is a lifetime Marine, so we could sit for hours and just talk about stupid stuff, um, traveling overseas and all that stuff. Uh, so if I end up in Arkansas or wherever, you know, um, it'll be fun to be close enough to be there for with them as well.
So how
And
are we
then
going to
hope
get James out of Sacramento? What is he doing there? Let's get him out of there.
well, it's David in Sacramento,
Oh,
and
sorry. Yeah, I messed that up. James is
that's
in San Antonio.
yeah, but happy wife, happy life, right? So Denise, David's better half, all her family is in Sac. So she's not inclined to leave anytime soon. So I don't think they'll ever leave. Even I had the discussion this week. Like, why aren't we leaving? Let's go look at places. And they're like,
They'll change their tune. They'll be forced out like the rest of us. That's okay. Just give them time. Once
I
once
just hope
once California sees their home so they can use it for their purposes, they'll see the light. But
I just hope they all go to Arkansas as we start flipping and increasing values in Arkansas.
we don't want any more people coming to Arkansas. That's plenty.
It's
There's
gonna
plenty of people
happen,
in Arkansas that can buy your home. We don't want anyone else moving from. Matter of fact, the moment I step inside the state lines, I want them to close the place. No one else is allowed, especially if you have a license plate that said California, New York, or Illinois, Washington, or Oregon. You're not welcome in Arkansas.
right?
And all the people from those states hate people from Arkansas, so we're even, so it's
Yeah,
fair.
right. Everyone's like, why Arkansas? I'm like,
They
because
haven't been there, brother. They just think it's all a bunch of crazy, redneck, cousin lovins. It's just they haven't been there. They don't know how stunningly beautiful the state is and how
once
wonderfully beautiful the people are. You know what I mean? People just like to judge, like me, about Sacramento. I've been
once
just
once we get some properties up and running, we're gonna want some people moving in and overpaying for our properties. Yes,
no,
yes.
no.
I want to make some money, brother.
I don't want any more people moving. There's plenty of people that live there that can buy a home at a fair price. You just have to do the right deal. You don't have to screw people in the
I'm not
purchase. We
screwing
just
them. I'm
want
just
good people buying homes. We don't want people. We don't want outsiders. I'm telling you, they'll wreck it.
they're coming.
They're like locusts.
Look what happened to Tennessee. You can't even touch property in Tennessee now.
No, it's ruined it. It's absolutely ruined it. It's
Oh,
just
South Carolina is even worse.
yeah.
And
No.
South Carolina has just been overrun by Californians.
They're
So
like locusts, man. They destroy their state and then they go, well, let's get out of here because we've wrecked it and let's go somewhere else and we'll still do the same shit and re-wreck it again. So
yeah, right.
I'm sure this is going to be a very popular podcast with all of our friends on the left from California.
We're just,
Oh,
again, we're in trouble again. But whatever.
get it. Who cares? You know
It is
what?
what it is.
We're
We
talking
speak
about
we speak the
grandkids
truth.
and this is about the future of our grandchildren. So yes, this
Yes.
stuff's important. It's important. So when do you get to see the kids again? When do you get to go visit those little schnuggums of love?
Um, when do I? we'll see what happens in May with the little one in Phoenix. If we get a severance order, then we'll probably go have a party or something in May.
Well, my wife's leaving me, hopefully. So you and I get to go be besties this summer and go goof around. Go do some
Well,
diving.
we're gonna go to we're gonna go to Arkansas. I've
Yeah,
already got meetings set up with Jody.
Jody is the best. She's the best realtor. Jody Eaton, the best realtor in all of Arkansas.
She has already sent me properties and started talking about my goals and what I want to do. So all that's going. I'll have my LLC up and running soon. And then it's just a matter of whatever. I don't know. We'll get through May and June, July. The one thing was funny, my kids were yelling at me about on, was it Monday? I don't know. They had an intervention. I got in trouble. I
Another
got yelled.
one?
Yeah, they just, they like yelling at me.
You
They
guys
think it's
need
funny.
you guys need your own like BET television show or something. You guys have so many interventions, man.
They think it's super funny well, my oldest thinks it's super funny to be the adult in the room now. But they're laughing because I don't know where I'm going.
You don't know Jack. Why should that concern them? Do they know how hard their births were? Do you know what you went through to raise those little brats? If this is your time to go goof around, screw them. We just
Oh
had
yeah, so
just had this conversation.
we just had this podcast about the adulting, and I told James, I'm like, it's not posted yet, but dude, you stole a car, drove it to San Bernardino, didn't tell me about it, and now you're trying to like tell me how to live my life.
Dude, right? I mean, I don't care that my boys are way better men than me. I do not care. I'm happy that they turned out way better than me. And I'm stoked that they're going to be way more successful than me. There isn't anything I'm not proud and excited about my two boys. But gotta stop being mean to dad.
Right.
Actually, it's only Chris. I'm calling out Chris. I hope he never watches it. He won't watch it. Calling out Chris. Christopher's mean to me. Zachy is super supportive of his dad. It's like
Not just the dad part. Like, we'll take this back around a little bit. It's We're now grandpops. We're not just dad, right? We're on a whole different level of what we do, how we approach their families now, right? Their marriages, their kids. It's what it's like to be a grandpa. And that's what we're talking about today is it's an amazing feeling when you stop having to be the dad, and now you're the granddad or the grandpops or whatever you want to be called. And apparently you don't want a name, but that's fine. Whatever.
I will receive a name. Jetson gives me a name. All right, Mr.
So
Harm,
at 18,
Mr.
at
Harmful to
18,
the child, Mr. Living in the 1800s. Would you have a
at
horse and
18,
buggy?
he's gonna call you a-hole and you'll be Grandpa a-hole.
That's okay. I'm Gramphole. I'm Gramphole. But I do have to say, and I will because I have to, is that my son Christopher gives me constant kudos about that I'm a spectacular grandfather. And I say, well, that was because I was a spectacular father, although, yeah, and he does admit I was a spectacular father. He just thinks I'm a stupid older father. But when it comes to being a grandpa, he gives me massive kudos because I love that little stinking brat of his. And we do well together. So he gives me lots of kudos for that. And I'm sure you get the same thing because you're probably a stupid grandpa like me.
Yeah, and I had some amazing history with my grandfather out in Palm Desert, building golf courses, um, doing stuff.
Your
Um,
grandfather built golf courses out in the desert?
yeah, after he retired, we lived out off of Cook Street, that little, again, I don't want to dive in too deep into this, but we had a little house right there off the dunes. And then I forget, was it Cimarron? One of the little golf courses there with the mobile home park. Yeah, he irrigated it. So every night we would fill up jugs of water, freeze them, and then head out in the dunes in our hound dog. Um, it was a motorcycle, and with our shovels, and just dig irrigation lines to irrigate and build that golf course.
I did not
And
know that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I didn't have a grandmother or a grandfather. I didn't have a grandma and
Oh,
grandpa
really?
on my mom's side, and I didn't have a grandma and grandpa on my dad's side. I kind of had a grandpa on my mom's side, but he died when I was young, and I didn't really know him at all. My mom's mom died when my mom was like 3, and my dad was disowned by his family, so I never met Candy Sanchez and Beatrice Marquez. So yeah, I had no grandma and grandpas to kind of hang with. So that's why I wanted to be especially spectacular about being a grandpa, which I am.
Yeah, well, I had an amazing mentor. Matter of fact, he was a engineer, a train engineer, and I live on the train tracks, right? So every 20 minutes, I've got Amtrak or a train coming through my house. And it's just one of those.
Don't you still have his engineer's hat?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you told me that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't have shit from my grandma and grandpas because I never met them. I don't even know who they are. But I digress. So just to wrap this silliness up, it's been a nice light episode. Um everyone should remember their lost spouse when they start having grandkids. We have pictures of April that Jetty gets to see. Elisa actually started that, which was very cool. She wants to make sure that Jetty one day says, "That's your grandma. I'm steppy grandma.
You should probably name her at some point.
Name who, Elisa?
No.
Jet is gonna name her. I'm not gonna name her. What is wrong with you? Where are you from? You're probably going to be sued by the children down the road for child abuse, for naming yourself and scarring them for life.
No,
Who names
no,
himself? I mean, like maybe if you're Cher or Madonna, you name yourself, right? But you don't
no.
name yourself.
I'm Jim Pops.
You
Come
are.
on
What
now.
if they don't? What if she doesn't like that name? What if she
Doesn't
can't?
matter. I'm gonna be Jim Pops, and she's not the only grandchild. So everyone knows me as Jim Pops.
But what if the kids can't say it and they want to call you something else? Are you still going to stick to that stupid name?
No, they know me as Jim Pops from day one.
But they
I'm
can't, what if they can't say it?
they'll learn how to say it someday.
But what if they start calling you something else? Will you accept that? Or are you just going to beat
No,
them until they only say that ridiculous name?
we've been doing this since the day she was born. So I'm always gonna be Jim Pops to her. I'll never be
In
anything
your
else.
mind, you are, but maybe in her mind, she wants to call you something else. What if she wants to call you Grandma Sally? You have to accept these are new times, Jim Pop.
I don't
You
accept
sound
new
like a
time.
frozen dessert, by the way. I just don't know if that's safe for the children to be around.
We
Or it
really
sounds
went
like
off
a
the
gay
rails.
bar. Sounds like a gay bar in Sacramento. Jim Pop. It's just not safe for the children. You've got to think about the children. All
Never
right,
about
Jim
me. It's
Pop.
always about me.
Jim,
All right.
Jim Pop, we better get out of here before we get in even more trouble than we already are on this podcast. By the way, this podcast was sponsored by the state of Arkansas and,
Sarah
and,
Huckabee.
and River Rock Realty in Little Rock and Jody Eaton. They sponsored this episode. That's why we named them so much. But listen, speaking of sponsorship, hopefully you guys, that one dude in his mom's basement in his jammies watching our episodes, likes these episodes. And Jim Pop Jr., I want I want you to like, share, subscribe, track us down on the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, all the other stuff that we're on. Like us, share us, subscribe us, right? And give us some props because baby A needs a new set of shoes.
She does. She already outgrew her Adidas's I bought her. So yeah.
All
You're
right, so we are Grief Pie. We're two grandpas and a grandpop
Tim Pop.
sharing grief, one frozen dessert at a time, one Jim Pop at a time. All right, love you, man.
Love you, buddy.
See you on the other side.
See you on the other side.
This has been our weekly broadcast. Brought to you by the Grief Pie Podcast Studios. We can be found on all the popular podcasting platforms. Remember to like and subscribe and to hit that alert button so you don't miss any episodes. Thanks again, and until next time, treat yourself gently and don't bite off more than you can chew. Healing is a process.